All right, it's Damien from Marketing Food Online, and in this video, I'm going to dive into our subscriber questions. I got a bunch of new ones, and we are going to hop into those questions right now. It's Damien from Marketing Food Online, and in this video, I wanted to dive into a bunch of you guys' questions. I know that you guys have had a ton of them. I've been extremely busy in our shop, but I'm going to sit down right now, take a few minutes, and go over some of these questions for you guys. I've got 3 or 4 that I'm actually going to dive into right now, so you want to watch all the way to the end of the video to see if your question is on here. The first one right off the bat is actually about a food truck. It comes from Ben and Gina. They actually were asking a question. They are in Florida, and they have a food truck that is pretty much, looks like it's already built out as far as the inside in regards to the equipment, but they wanted to alter it and add a sunroof. Now, yes, you could do that. You're asking the one question about whether or not it would pass inspections. I personally can't give you a yes or no on that indefinitely, but I can give you a little bit of information. When you do submit it, you actually want to, when you're applying for the mobile food dispensing license, which is what it's known as in Florida, you actually need to submit a drawing of any type of remodeling or any modifications you're going to do to the vehicle, and they will have to inspect that based upon the drawing and then give you the okay whether that is something that they can do or not. Now, I personally have actually been to Florida. I lived in Florida for 20 years. 14 years in Fort Lauderdale, actually, and 6 in Orlando. I've seen quite a few food trucks in my day in Florida. There are numerous food trucks that I have ever seen that have actually sunroofs in them. But as long as it structurally doesn't affect anything as far as the mechanics, the operations of the vehicle itself, any equipment that may need to have ventilation of any kind, that cannot come excuse me, can't come into contact with any other remodeling or any modifications you do to the vehicle. Now, I'm not speaking on behalf of the inspector itself, but you want to definitely do that and resubmit a drawing specifically showing where on the vehicle, because that's what they're going to request, is going to have a drawing set up to see where it's going to be put in order for them to give you a thumbs up or a thumbs down. But I have personally, yes, seen multitudes of food trucks, specifically in Miami and Fort Lauderdale, that have those sunroofs on there as well. It gives a lot of natural light actually to the vehicle itself, but they're also modified to where they're not affected by any other equipment on the vehicle. That may be the only thing you want to double check with them in order for them to give you a sign off on the vehicle itself, so you can do that. Definitely, one thing I was going to tell you about what's going on right now with COVID-19 and a lot of food trucks. There's a lot of people who have actually emailed me questions about whether they should start one or not. I potentially say yes, because down the road, you're going to see a lot of things kind of coming back to some sense of normalcy. Obviously, the way that we interact and how close we get to each other may be slightly different, but the beaches and places where people are going to congregate, food trucks are going to be hugely popular, especially when people start to get outside and outdoors and events and festivals start back up. Florida is huge with a different variety of events, so having a food truck and attending these different events in different counties and cities is a no-brainer, and you could definitely make a lot of money. Just focus on what you're doing, be patient with reopening, and gradually, little by little, things will come back to some sense of normalcy. So having a food truck is going to be a hugely profitable business pretty much anywhere up and down the east coast of Florida specifically. Now, other states that have them, of course, California and New York and such, places that are in cities and urban areas are going to have a little bit of a challenge because of the fact that you can't congregate so many people together in such close spaces, so that may be a bit challenging. But when it comes to Florida and places of that sort, I think it's a fantastic idea. If you've got a food truck and you're just getting into it, or you're just crossing your fingers and you're hoping, is it ever going to get back? I firmly believe that it's going to, and having a food truck is going to be a definitely big asset. All right, so my next question up was actually it was a great question about, I did a video briefly about auto insurance, and I know this may sound a little odd, but auto insurance for people who are starting home-based food businesses, you want to make sure that you take advantage of as many tax benefits as possible when you're operating a food business from home. Now, under the cottage food law, there's a variety of foods that you can make, and then there's a handful that you can't. But the list, pretty much in every state that offers cottage food laws, the list of foods that you can make from home is gigantic. And it's definitely products that are very cheap to make, and they have really, really big margins, so the profitability is there. So the question was about auto insurance. Do I need to get a commercial auto insurance policy? As you mentioned in one of your videos, is that necessary or not? Okay, so here's the thing. Right now, if you have a vehicle, obviously you have a standard auto insurance policy. Now, if you use that vehicle for business purposes and you start a food business and you go out to, let's just say even Walmart's or Costco or Sam's Club, these big places, and get supplies for your baked goods or whatever the product is, if you're using it for business purposes, you can write that off as a business expense. Now, transitioning your vehicle, if you're using it a lot, into a auto insurance policy for commercial vehicles, that is going to be another way that you can protect your business. If you happen to get into an accident or something like that while you're using the car for business, that is one of the reasons why you should look into it. Now, how do you look into it? Go to Google and type in commercial auto insurance policy or commercial auto insurance, okay? One of those different two phrases, and it will pull up a variety of companies that will offer specifically commercial policies for your food business, for your vehicle, okay? It's very, very important. And then at the end of the year, some of the tax benefits is the use of the vehicle itself in mileage. Sorry, and then also the tax benefit to it is the amount of auto insurance you pay every month can also be deducted. So I'm not saying I'm an accountant, but I have been in this business for over 12 years, and we do use our own vehicles for a lot of our commercial use. So I know that working with our accountant, it was something that was beneficial. So ask your accountant about the benefits of the auto insurance policy being a commercial policy, and then go from there. So because that's going to be something that you can write off as an expense, and that's a benefit for you when it comes to tax time. All right, so this other question I had, just looking down at my laptop real quick. So I got a question from someone that was starting a food business and wanted to sell a food product online, but didn't know whether to be in retail or online. Which one would be best to start with? Okay, so if you're looking to be online, I personally would recommend you figure out a way to do that. And what I say by that is that you can either start a store on eBay, Etsy, Amazon, your own website. You can even open one on Facebook. Having an online e-commerce business selling any type of food product or spice or herb blend or any of that type of thing is definitely a way to go. Right now, getting into retail stores is more of a challenge than it is online. I've been online for about 12 years now. I've had my products in retail and online. In order for me to get into the retail side of it, it took me a lot of phone calls to a lot of corporate buyers, and I had to work a lot of deals, and I did all of that on my own. Very time consuming. Right now, I can open a store. We already have six e-commerce businesses now. But when I first started, I opened up a store on eBay. It took me less than a day to do it. And I posted a ton of products, and I began to make sales within about 30 to 60 days. So the amount of time it takes you to get your product into retail and all those hoops to jump through and no guarantee that it's going to sell, I can create a listing and have a product in the front of millions of people instantly and start selling a product. You have a lot more control over your product, where it sells, how much of it sells. Every aspect of doing a food business online is in your hands, as opposed to trying to get other people to believe enough in your product, to bring it into stores, create the product, ship the product. There's just so much involved with it. Yes, you could do that, but at the end of the day, it's a faster route to the marketplace. If you simply open an e-commerce business, you could be up and running in less than 30 days and have a store with a product in front of millions of people. The one thing about being in a retail store that I have noticed, and from my own experience, is that the 9 stores, we actually got 9 stores in the city that we're in when we first started with our candy, and those 9 stores only allowed us to put so many products on the shelf. Now, when a customer comes into that retail store and they're not looking for a candy like ours, then we've lost out and our product is sitting there and sitting there and sitting there. And then the point comes, obviously, when it expires or has a Best Buy date. And if it doesn't sell, we have to give a credit back to the store. If I sell a product online, and if I'm either making it to order or pre-making a small batch of it, I can have millions of eyes looking at it instead of just a few hundred or a couple thousand who go to that one store, and I'm not guaranteed that sell. I can put a listing up for 500 different items if I wanted to, because I can have millions of people looking at a huge variety of products instead of just 1 or 2 flavors in one specific location at a retail store. That's the downside to retail, okay? Now, if you have a product and you get a marketing firm behind it, a distribution company, a food distributor, all of these people, even a food broker, there's a lot of people who are going to take money from your product because they have to get paid. And if you don't have that money up front, they're not going to do the work. So you're investing a lot to get into retail. You can open an eBay store, get charged $20, $30 a month for the subscription for eBay. I could put up as many products as I want. Within 30 days, I could be making sales. And it costs way less. So, answer to your question, shoot for the online first, and then if you start to build up a really good business online, if you want to be in retail, then it makes it a little easier to transition into retail, okay? So I'll see you guys on the next video. As always, if you're not subscribed to my channel, definitely hit the subscribe button. If you've got questions yourself, let me know. I'll try to get to these questions as soon as I possibly can, and I'll see you guys on our next video. Thanks for watching Marketing Food Online. And if you are looking to create your own food truck, start a home-based food business under the cottage food law, franchise a food operation, start a packaged food business, private label your own food product, sell on Amazon, get your own online store, or sell food online, remember to subscribe and check out these videos for more resources. Take care.